to my first ever YouTube crochet tutorial. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I did film it. So it is a video of crochet and me trying to tell you how to do this. So anyway, this is for these like little friendship bracelet hat things. We have ones with letters on the front. And this one I haven't sewn all the ends in, don't tell anyone. That's between you and me. Ones with letters on the strings that hang off of it with, oh, look at this, cute little hearts. Oh my gosh, how adorable. Yeah, different colors, so cute. Yeah, and you can customize them to say whatever you want them to say. Or if you just think the hat's cute, because it gives you these cute little ears, you don't have to add the beads. Anyway, so I showed you how to make both kinds, and yeah, I think it's just a fun way to like have crochet that says something without having to do like a whole big tapestry project. And I was like, oh my gosh, let me just put little beads on the hat. So that's what I've got for you. I hope that it is understandable and not too boring. And let me know if you have any questions, but please be nice about it. I'm just a little girl and I'm really sensitive. So anyway, I hope you enjoy. I hope it's useful, and I hope that there will be people out there twinning with me, and maybe I'll see you on the street, and that would be super cute and adorable. Okay, enjoy. But wait, there's more, because I forgot to tell you the materials you need. You need scissors, you need yarn needles, and smaller needles than yarn needles, small enough that will fit through the beads. You also need beads. But we'll also be able to thread your yarn into. So like a good middle ground. I got lucky and the first ones I tried worked. Then yeah, you need 2 colors of yarn to do this striped look. And I use like weight 4 yarn. You can change that according to what you want. But you're going to need a hook that's bigger than the size that recommended for your yarn to get like the same look as mine, and also a hook smaller for the hearts at the end. So I do like a 3.25 hook for the hearts on the end, and then like a 5.5 for the rest of the hat. That's all you need. Okay, have fun. Okay, so you have your 2 colors, color A and color B. So color A for me is going to be this darker turquoise, and then this is like a lighter turquoise, I guess. So color B is going to be the color of the ear flaps and the ribbing around your forehead. So, and then if you want to do the version with the strands hanging down your face, those will also be this color, but at the end we'll have little hearts that are color A. And then I use a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, which is larger than the size. I would guess this is like size 4, maybe size 3 yarn. But I like the way it looks with the bigger crochet hook. So you're gonna make 2 panels that look like this, which is 35, each row is 35 half double crochets, and then you alternate colors, and I have 13 rows total. So I start and end with color A, and this is what it will look like, but I'll show you how we get there. So we start with color A and chain 37. So chain 35 plus 2 for height, 35, 36, 37, and then we skip 2 and we do yarn over, do a half double crochet into this into the third chain. And then we just half double crochet down the rest of the chain. Okay, we are at the end of our row. I have one chain left. I'm gonna go in, yarn over, pull through, and then before I finish off my half double crochet, I'm gonna bring in color B, put it over my hook, and then pull through all 3 loops. And that's how I change colors. And then chain 2, turn your work, and I leave the original little tail out. We'll deal with that later. And then I bring this tail up, and along with my color A tail that's still attached to the ball of yarn, and I just hold those next to my crochet, and just when I go into my stitch, I also have these 2 tails over my hook, and then I just continue like normal, and that's how I weave these in, crochet these in. So I'm just crocheting like around them, so they're kind of hidden in my stitches. And this little tail, this is just only going to exist for this first time because I don't cut my yarn every row that I change colors. I just hold on to it throughout because I like the way that looks better. It does take a little bit more yarn, so there are many ways to do this, but I just do it this way. And then I'm just gonna go through, so I hold my project and this yarn with the same hand and just pretend like it's one thing, so I don't even have to think about it. Don't even acknowledge that it's there. Just work around it, and you can see like that it's just kind of hidden in there along my project. And you just go down the row, all 35 stitches. Okay, I'm about to do my last stitch, but before I do that, I like to just stretch the project before I change colors, because I don't know, maybe this is just a me problem, but when I have like this yarn going through, it can get kind of all scrunched together. And I made that problem, I had that issue with one of the first hats I did, and it ended up being just a little small. So now I'm changing colors. So I just stretch it to make sure that I don't have that issue. And I just do that at the end of every row. And I find that it has made it fit the way I expect it to. So, and I use acrylic yarn. You already know that. I told you that at the beginning of the video, but you could use whatever, I'm sure. I don't know. Anyway, so you just keep going like this. You're gonna do 13 rows in total, so that's 7 rows of color A and 6 rows of color B. And then when you get to the end, you just fasten off, but I'll meet you there and show you what we do next. Okay, I'm on my last row, my last few stitches. So on your first panel, when you get to the end, just chain 1 and fasten off, and then I just cut a little short tail and also a short tail of color B. So it's just kind of hanging out there. But on panel 2, we're not gonna fasten off, so finish up here, and this is our last stitch, and I'm gonna finish it with just the same color, color A, stretch it out. I'm gonna cut color B, just a short tail, and then I'm going to, this is going to be the outside. So whichever side you like better, this is the side I want to be my outside. So I'm gonna take the side I want to be the matching side and put it face down on the other side I want to show. So the outsides are on the inside. Because now we are going to make our seams. So we're going to go along here, and then along here, and then we will fasten off, because then we are going to do our ribbing around here. This is where our head goes. And then doing it is square like this gives you the cute little like kind of cat ear vibe. So I'm gonna chain one and then insert my hook into the first row of half double crochets, and I'm gonna do 2 single crochets for every row, and as I go I'm gonna just weave this in. So now I'm on to my next row. I'm just gonna do 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then I'm just gonna keep going. Then on our last row, 1, 2, then rotate, and I just go. So this is our chains, this side. I like to do it this way so that when I'm doing my ribbing, I'm actually working into the single crochets, which is easier than working into the chains, I think. So then we just go across the top, and yeah, and then we just continue like this until we get down here at this end, and then we will fasten off and cut our yarn. Oh, and I forgot to say, but with all the little ends that I left out, I just weave them in like we were doing before. So I just keep it along the edge of my project, and I'm taking my yarn over it, so it will end up in the seam. Okay, this is my last single crochet, and then I'm just going to cut a short little tail that we will hide in the ribbing of our hat. So this is what it looks like, and then when you flip it, you get these cute little rounded ears, and that's what it's gonna look like. But I'm gonna work our ribbing back with it inside out. So I'm gonna make a slip knot, and I just start over by where we finished off and go into a stitch. You could really go anywhere. And then I'm going to slip stitch and then chain 5, or chain 6 technically. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is how tall our ribbing's gonna be. So that's how tall the band is. If you want it to be bigger or shorter, you just change how many chains you're doing here. So you've done 6, so we're gonna skip 1, and then we're just gonna single crochet down our chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're just going to, into the next stitch, we're going to do a slip stitch, and I'm crocheting my ends in as I go along with my slip stitches, and then into the next stitch do another slip stitch like that. Then we're going to turn our work and go back into this first single crochet. If you're not sure which one it is, if you get confused with the slip stitches, you can just count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then in the back loop only, so just picking up this back loop, not going through both, just this one. single crochet, and we're gonna do that till we get to the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then chain 1 and go back down this way. So we turn our work, go back down and into the back loop only. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to do 2 slip stitches, and then turn our work, and we're just repeating the same thing. In the back loop, we're going to do 5 single crochet up to the end, turn our work, 5 single crochet in the back loop only, and then 2 slip stitches, turn our work, go back up, turn our work, go down, 2 slip stitches. We just keep repeating, and we're going to do this all the way around till we get back to this corner over here. Okay, I am coming to the end here. So this is where we started, and I have this stitch, I have our seam, and then we're back to the beginning. So I'm gonna go slip stitch here, and then I like to treat the seam like it's a stitch, so I just kind of go in somewhere. It doesn't really matter. Maybe if I can get in anywhere, yeah, that's fine. And then I just pick up the other side. Usually it's not this difficult, but since I'm filming, of course it's going to be an issue. Okay, great, we're just in the seam somewhere. So I'm gonna slip stitch that, and then do my 5 back loop only single crochets. And 5. And then chain 1. On my way back down, I'm actually going to connect these two. So I'm just gonna hold them together like this. This is still on the inside of the hat. So then I'm going to go into our starting chain and the back loop of the stitch I was just working on through here, and then through the back loop, through the chain, through the back loop, through the chain, through the back loop, through the chain, through the back loop, maybe, and then I just, to not leave a hole, so you know, if I were to not attach it to the back to the rim of the hat, there's a little bit of a hole here. So I just single crochet somewhere in the seam. I mean, I slip stitch, and then I fasten off, leave a good enough tail because you do have to sew this one in, unfortunately. And that's the rim of our hat. Looks pretty good. So now I'm gonna do the ear flaps, but now we're going to do our ear flaps. So I'm gonna flip it back inside out. It doesn't really matter. I like to do, so I'm gonna find the seam. So this is the seam, and this is the corresponding row of our ribbing. So I'm gonna count that as the middle, and then I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is where I'm going to attach my yarn, just in here. I'm gonna slip stitch it. I'm gonna chain 2, and then I'm gonna half double crochet back into where I attached my yarn. And then, so that's 1, this is 2. So just in each row, there's not like a perfect place to do it. So 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then here we are at our middle seam. So then I'm going to go in here. So that's 7. Then we're going to do 6 more. So we've got this one, 1, and then I'm going to do here where the bump is, 2, then where the indent is, 3. That's how I think of it. I don't know if that's helpful. 4, where the bump is, 5, where the indent is, and 6, where the bump is. Maybe. Then I'm going to chain 2, turn my work, and then I'm going to do a half double crochet 2 together, decrease, whatever you want to call it. So I've done my 3, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull all my loops through. So we've done our decrease, then we just go along until the last 2 stitches, do 1 more, and then do our decrease. And if it's not clear, I am not a perfect crocheter. I just do my best and make stuff I like. Okay, chain 2, flip. We're gonna do a decrease and a decrease. So 1 decrease, then half double crochet along, and decrease. Or if you want it to be longer, you can decrease every other row. This is just how I like to do it. Decrease. Half double crochet along, chain 2, and then we are going to decrease with all 3. We're going to combine all 3 of these stitches. So we're going to go into the first stitch, yarn over, into the next stitch, yarn over, into the next stitch, and pull through, and that's it. That's what our ear flap looks like. So then I just chain 1, pass it off, leave a long enough tail to sew in to the end, and that's what it looks like on the inside. This is what it looks like on the outside. And I'm just going to do that on the other side. Okay, here we are. We've got 2 ear flaps, some ends I need to sew in later. And, oh, we need beads. Beads. And needles. Needles small enough to go through your bead holes. That's the key. My giant plastic yarn needles are not enough. I needed to buy little tiny needles. They're not that small, but so a good medium between something that'll fit your yarn and something that'll go through the holes in your beads. Which I just happened to luck out with these ones that I bought at the local craft store near me. But yeah, so next step, pick out all your letters and I'll meet you back. Okay, and then I just kind of lay out my beads. for the size of beads I have, I can do like 1 per row. So, you know, we have the bump row and then our indent row and our bump and our indent. So I kind of lay it out to figure out my spacing. Then I'm just gonna mark where I start and where I end, just so I do not forget. Yeah, okay, great. Now take the same color yarn and I don't know, I do kind of like 3 times the length that I'm need, or of the, you know what I'm saying, 3 times the length of the hat, the width of the hat, I guess. I don't know. And now, and thread the needle. I kind of try to go into the third, around to the third single crochet on the row, just because that's the middle and it kind of gives me an idea of where to be. And then I just leave a long enough end for sewing in at the end. Then I thread my letter. Kind of to where I want it, and then go through a stitch somewhere. And there we have our first letter. And now I'm gonna go back up through a different part of the stitch just so that our letters are secure. Try not to sew in your stitch marker bobby pins. Okay, so we're on to our next one, which is going in this indent instead of the bump. Add it on. Till you get it where you like it. Somewhere in the third stitch, just go ahead and sew it in. And you could even bring it back up, do it all in one go. Make sure it's facing the way you like. I don't know, this S is a little weird. I don't know if there's a right way. Hooray! This is not the... I can also crochet the letters in, but I don't think it looks any better than doing it this way, is my final thought. And it still kind of gives you that like friendship bracelet, wavy, not completely straight, not completely perfect vibe. So just keep going with all your letters. Okay, and then you sew in all your ends and you've got a cute little friendship bracelet hat. You could, if you want, just do a straight line and then just sew in the ends. Then your beads will kind of move around a little bit, but it'll be like straight. I kind of like the look of this better, but you could do whatever you like. And then there's another version where we do the strings with little hearts on the ends, but this is the end for this version. Okay, so if you're going to put the letters on the strands, first of all, my beads have the holes horizontally, so the letters are going to be like not up and down. They're going to look like this, unless you find beads that are different. You could sew them onto the chain that we're gonna have if you really dislike the way this looks. I think it looks totally good. So anyway, figure out your beads, kind of try to figure out a way to make them about the same if you want. That's what I did. Then kind of move them and totally destroy everything you just did. Okay, great. So we have our hat. When we finish the ear flap, you're gonna do your last decrease 3 together, and then chain 37 is how many I do. But you can just kind of figure out the length you want. You're also gonna undo this. This is just to figure out the length that I like. And then I'm gonna just take it apart because we are going to add the beads in now. So we got our chain 1, then I'm gonna pull through the yarn just to make a cute little knot there, secure it all. Now thread the needle, the most difficult part. Hooray, we did it! Okay. Anyway, it is yarn, so it's pretty thick, so they'll probably stay wherever you put them, but you can also tie a knot in between all of your letters if you don't want them to move at all. That's what I did on my pink and blue hat, but it is kind of fun to be able to play around with them. If you like that, you can just leave them like this, or you can push them all together if you want them just to be right up at your face and not go down any farther. Totally up to you. So if you want, you can tie knots in between each of the letters. I'm not going to. I'm just going to space them out evenly how I like. Then at the very end, you are going to just tie a knot after your last bead, no matter what you decide to do with all your letters. Great. Okay, now we are going to make a slip knot and get that slip knot right up against that knot that we just made, and we are going to just chain until we reach the end of our yarn. And you can do less if you have decided, now that you have this length, how much you like. But this is like where my other side ends. That's just 37 chains. So if I decided I did 37 chains, I like 37 chains, I could stop here. Yeah, then you just cut it off, and then we are going to attach the hearts, and that'll be the end. Okay, so now we're going to make our little hearts that go on the ends of the strings. If you want to do that version, you don't have to put little hearts on. I just think they're cute. So I do them with the color that is not the color of the ribbing, and I do it with a small hook. This is like a 3.25 covered in tape. So we start with a magic ring, chain 2, and we're gonna do 3 triple crochets. 1, maybe. You know, they get very hard to do on camera. I mean, I think they're hard in general. Or they're just annoying, I guess. I don't know. 2. And 3. And then we're going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Then we're gonna chain 1, and then do 1 triple crochet, and then we're going to repeat all that in reverse to do the other side of our heart. So we're gonna chain 1, do 3 double crochets, 3 treble crochets, chain 2, and slip stitch back into our magic ring, and that'll be it. So 3 double crochets, knocking over all my stacks. Double. Then we're going to do 3 triple, Oh, oh, no, come back. Okay. 2. And 3. And then we're going to chain 2 and slip stitch. You can kind of make your ring a little smaller. And then chain 1 and so slip stitch, chain 1, pull your magic ring closed. So now we have a cute little heart. And then we're gonna make 4. So for 2 of them, you can cut your ends pretty short because we're just going to tuck them in. We've got our long string, then we'll have a heart on this side and a heart on this side. So 2 of the hearts, so we're making 4 hearts total. 2 of the hearts will need to leave long ends so that we can weave everything together, sew it all together, but the other side, you can just cut them short. So I will meet you once we have all 4 of our hearts done. Okay, so we've got our hat. This one doesn't have any beads on it, but I cut long ends originally because I turned the light on because I wasn't thinking. But you can actually cut short ends because we're just gonna use the long end from our heart string. So I'm just gonna chop this pretty short, like really short, because we're just gonna tuck it inside. Just gonna hide it like that. So take a heart with the long end, take a heart with a short end. See my cute little ends in the back there. And we're gonna sandwich. See, so that's how it's gonna end up. Except that'll be tucked in. But I'm gonna start here, sew along my heart until I get over here. Then I'm going to put this guy in and finish it off. So I just don't find that it's necessary to be holding so many things. So we're sewing in. I had a needle. Oh, there it is. I'm very organized. Can't you tell? Okay. So put them like this. Gonna go through our first stitch, or chain 2 really. And find our chain 2 on the other side. It doesn't really matter if you do it exact, because it really doesn't matter sewing, just as long as you give it your best shot. Okay, and then we're just gonna find our first stitch, and we're just gonna go around like that. Okay, so I've made it to right about here. I still have a little hole. So I'm going to take my chain, just gonna go ahead and put that in there, just a few stitches, and then we're gonna sew into our chain. So I'm gonna do this one, and then go through here, our chain, and the other side of the heart. And I'm just gonna go back through, just because this is what holds everything together. You can do a little tug, and then just gonna sew my end in. I kind of treat it like a stuffed animal where you just stab it through a couple times and then you cut off your ends. So I'm just gonna stab this little heart Boop. And stab it one more time. Cut it. Stretch it. Ta-da! And you've got a cute little heart on the end. That's what it looks like on the other side. So both sides look pretty great. And then you're just gonna repeat on the other side. And that's it. Then you are done. Thank you so much for watching. If you want, I made matching gloves too that are pretty cute. Fingerless gloves. If you want to know how to make those, they're really easy. Let me know. If you want more tutorials, I mean, I'm just posting them really for me because I have nothing to do right now. But if you also will be watching them and it's not just gonna be me, let me know. And yeah, I wish you all the best, and I think you are really cool for crocheting. So have a great day.